president of Sydney Street Cats. Welcome, Kerin.
Hi, thank you, Leah.
So let's start off with an obvious question. What is a street cat, and is it the same as a feral cat?
So street cats are different from feral cats, but what I'll start with is sort of the categorisation of cats in the community.
Yeah.
So we have owned cats. So in Australia there's about just over 3 million cats that are classified as owned cats. That's about 29% of the households in Australia have cats. So they're owned, they're microchipped, desexed, vaccinated, wormed and flea. Generally they're very well cared for. Then we have what's classified as semi or unowned cats, and they're cats that are in urban environments who no one really has any ownership of them, but people might feed them. They have interactions with humans, and they generally, get food from people, or they live in sort of factory environments or industrial areas, and people will go out and feed them. We have those types of cats. They're generally abandoned cats from people who haven't desexed their cats and move out of their home or no longer want to care for them and let them breed, and they become a problem in the community. And the main area that we focus on for Sydney street cats is desexing those cats. So to stop them having kittens on the street who often will die once they become mobile, and they're exposed to all sorts of dangers out on the street. So we really wanted to contain street cat populations and provide them veterinary care and ensure people are feeding them as well. So we really want to make their lives as best as we can through veterinary treatment and making sure that they're being cared for. And then there's feral cats. We don't quite like the term feral because we know that all cats, have their own beautiful personalities, and it's not through no fault of their own that they're in the environment that they're in. But they generally live in sort of remote areas. They do not have any interaction with humans whatsoever, and they live a very different lifestyle, and they're the ones that will hunt and kill prey to survive or scavenge for food. So,
Great.
yeah.
Kerin, do you find that many people lump every cat that is not living in a home with humans as a feral cat?
Yes, there's a misconception that cats living on the street in an urban environment are termed feral, and that's not the case, and we think that's really unfair to call them feral cats. They're community cats. They've had some interaction with human beings. Often they're abandoned, or mostly they're abandoned by people, and then they'll go on to breed generations of cats who may or may not have interactions with humans, but generally people will feed them, or they'll source food themselves. But to call them feral is not fair for them, and we think that's why we use the term community cats.
Great.
For those cats, because they are a community cat and people care for them, and they have had some human interaction at some stage.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. So Kerin, how many of you are there at Sydney Street Cats, and what does everybody do?
So I got involved in the cat rescue business in about 2014. In 2018 we started Sydney Street Cats, and really it's a group of people who are really concerned about cats living on the street and want to do something about it. But we have 6 board members, and but really all the legwork is done by myself. So I go out and do a lot of the work rescuing cats, making sure they've got vet treatment, rehoming cats, and all sorts of other work that's involved with helping community cats. And we have a really amazing number of volunteers who also foster cats, feed cats and transport cats, and do all sorts of things to help us look after cats. And we have a lot of people who really are very generous in terms of giving us food and blankets and things like that for the cats as well. So we have a lot of volunteers and donors that really help assist us helping community cats.
Great. And how do people let you know that they've found a colony of cats? Do they just call you, or do they reach you through Facebook or? website?
So it can be through a variety of ways. Quite often it's through Facebook or social media. They become aware of Sydney Street Cats, or someone's referred them through another rescue group. And they're generally at the point where they're quite desperate to get help for these cats because it's really hard to find assistance. And at that point we'll assess if we can take that particular job on, if we've got capacity to do that. Otherwise, if we can't, we'll refer them on to some other rescue groups or show them ways that they can help those cats themselves.
So Kerin, when someone calls you or messages you through Facebook and says that at the end of their street there are 10 cats and they're not sure what to do because they look a little bit sick or they look a little bit underfed, what happens next? What do you do?
So we'll go and assess the situation. We'll try and work with the local community and try and get a real handle on what's going on there. We'll make sure that we dissex all the cats, and we'll rehome all the friendly cats and kittens, and make sure that they've got new homes to go to, and make sure that there's people looking after any cats that are still there.
Great. So Kerin, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into starting up Sydney Street Cats?
Right, well, so I worked for Wellington SPCA in New Zealand many years ago. For 8 years I was an animal welfare inspector, and I also was a puppy handler and a dog handler, and I had various jobs within the organisation, so that really aligned with my passion for animals. And from then I've worked in various different not-for-profit organisations, a lot with animal focus, again aligning with my passion. And so when I came to Sydney and I was alerted to there being a problem on the streets with cats doing it tough, I decided to volunteer for a local rescue group and fed a colony of cats 1 day a week. And from then it just really grew, and I started feeding them every day, and then I started to dessex cats, and then I decided to start my own rescue group from there. So it really evolved over time.
So Kerin, what's your hope and vision for cats on the street, and what's the end goal for you?
At Sydney Street Cats, we really want to reduce street cat populations. That's our main goal, is to stop cats breeding on the street and stop the cats dying on the street. In Australia and New Zealand, every year 200,000 cats are being put down at shelters and pounds because they're not wanted. So breeding more cats through people breeding cats, people letting their cats have kittens, or through people abandoning cats and them breeding on the street is really just adding to that overpopulation of cats. So what we want to see is that there are no street cats on the street, and people dessex their animals. People dessex their cats so that really the pressure is taken off the cats and the people who are trying to care for them.
And can you think of any examples of where this has worked in terms of getting cats off the street or cleaning up certain areas so that there's not as many cats out on the street?
Sure. We've been into certain areas where there've been huge street cat populations, and we've cleaned up those areas, and we've had we've really targeted and focused our energy on making sure that those areas are tidied up in terms of the cats, and making sure that they're not breeding and they're being taken off the street. And we've had a lot of feedback from the local community and councils that what we're doing is working, so we know we're on the right track.
Great. Finally, what can our viewers and fellow cat lovers do to help you and Sydney Street Cats?
Firstly, the main thing that we want everyone to do is to dessex their cats. So if you adopt a cat, adopt it from a rescue group or a shelter, because they're the cats that really need your help. It's not from a breeder. Make sure that you adopt cats from rescue groups or a charity like Cat Protection Society or the RSPCA, and give a cat in need a home. Make sure that your cat is desexed and microchipped. That's really important. And really we just want to make sure that people really understand that a cat is for life. It's 15 to 20 year commitment. So when you take a cat on, that's your responsibility for the whole lifetime of the cat. And we want people to understand that these cats are beautiful creatures. They're sentient beings. They really rely on you for all their needs, and what you give them you get back tenfold in return. So cats are just absolutely spectacular creatures, and really we also urge people to support your local rescue groups as well. So support rescue groups because they're doing it really hard. They expend a lot of their own resources to help cats living on the street, and they really need your support in terms of food or financial support. Anything that you can do, you can volunteer as well. Anything that you can do to help them is greatly appreciated.
And if somebody watching this would like to help you, is there a way that they can donate some money to help de-sex some kittens?
Definitely.
And is that done through Facebook? Is that the best way to?
Yeah, so we have our Sydney Street Cats. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and we have our website, which is www.sydneystreetcats, all one word, .org.au.
Great. Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Kerin. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Leah.